the best floor out of 3 huntable areas of this spawn, and still somewhat relevant in some servers. This is how to hunt Prison -3. The spawn is located in Roshamul, southeast of the depot, but be aware that at least in new servers, it's more likely for Roshamul to be closed, and this spawn is unlocked on stage 3 of Roshamul. But if you are on a normal server and Rosha is open, then head towards the spawn. My recommendation for it is to set your residency at Roshamul by the temple northwest of the depot. Then whenever you want to hunt there, go to Benor and take the southwest gate. Then cut down the grass around here and wait 5 minutes for it to grow back. Once it does, you can relog and then you get teleported to the temple of residency. In this case, it will be Roshamul, and that will be the safest way to get there. The Roshamul prison has 3 floors with creatures and a last one for bosses. In the case of the spawns, I have already covered how to hunt in -1 and -2, with -1 being the entry level of the spawn, -2 the mid difficulty version, and now here we go with -3, where you will encounter mainly demon outcasts by far, then dark torturers and plaguesmiths more evenly, and lastly a few blightwalkers, hellhounds and juggernauts. For defense, it will be mainly physical and energy for the EK and the RP, which by the way also needs to be tanking inside boxes with the EK. That is the best way to get the most out of this spawn. Additionally, the mages need to carry energy bombs and wall runes, and as the EK, remember to use poison bombs to stop the energy elementals of getting near you, but also the RP should do the same on this floor. As for offense, the best rune might be thunderstorms. We were using avalanches, but I think thunderstorms might have the slight edge over them. But for the EK, I do recommend the use of an energy weapon if you have one. If not, go with the ice or physical. In terms of the Wheel of Destiny, I recommend the druid to use the twin bursts of ice, and for the paladin to use the divine grenade. Sorcerers should be using the defensive debuff and with maybe the area enlarged buff of the wheel. With that said, let's start with the lab, which consists of the middle rooms and the right side. So starting by the north, go into the middle passage. EK runs straight to the southwest room and lures the monsters back. Meanwhile, the RP does the same for the southeast room. And the mages will bring out the monsters that were left behind to the middle, and then place energy bombs blocking them out. But please make sure you are not the one that gets blocked instead. On this pool, things went pretty bad from the start, which is definitely going to happen during your hunts. It's important to communicate what is happening, because the team will be split doing their own things, and knowing that things are bad, the RP for example can just do more laps around the room and not do his lure, and EK could come back early as well. Also, do make use of magic and 3 walls to block spots that monsters could take to go on shooters. But normally, this is how the pulls should go. Have the druid stand at the edge of the bomb and tank 3 monsters. Sorcerers should also stand by the edge of the right side. That way, they both stop monsters from invading the bombs, which is what makes the pulls get messy as well. And then when the EK comes and rests the monsters, you're able to move back if needed. This spawn forces the mages to get far more involved with the tanking than any other place. So you need to get comfortable with your own HP and know what you can get away with. And also know when you need to use mana shield, which by the way, you shouldn't be using all the time. It's just for actual dangerous situations, or else the waste will be high. But besides the waste being high, it often ends up making you be more at risk rather than make it easier, because refilling your mana takes much longer than tanking and healing on HP. You also need to build this decision making as the paladin, because even though you can tank creatures, you should also be aware of juggernauts and hellhounds, especially when a hellhound is facing you directly. Then it's better to move away even if it means tanking less creatures. That's why the use of magic walls is good. Additionally, for both the RP and EK, be aware that the blightwalkers can get you drunk sometimes. It's not that often, and I personally don't keep at the warm ring at all times, but you should have it on a hotkey for when it happens. And as you might have noticed, I've been using this time to give recommendations rather than explaining the lab, because the 3 pulls in the middle are done the same way. The only variable which affects the paladin is that both the second and third room have obstacles on the way to your spot. For the second pull is the fences, and for the third one is the stone. Very often my RP will get blocked by this stone. But once you're done with the 3 pulls in the middle, then go to the rooms on the right side. For this one, the EK goes in directly with the mages, and then the RP lures the monsters left on the way. These pulls will still require the paladin to sidebox, and when he does, then the druid should come out of his bomb and mass rest both of them. The next rooms are done the same way, but be careful with the third room as it will have 2 hellhounds every time. That completes the lap, as you will be back to the middle. Hunting like this, we were doing around the 3.7kk raw XP with no charms. And this was before the introduction of the wheel, but we did have high skills characters, so keep that in mind. And in terms of profit, we were doing over the 250k per person the hour, which is far more than the alternatives on the level range. Also, these 6 pulls are more than enough for most teams. I don't think you will overkill even at level 500 plus, but if that were to happen, you can include the rooms to the left, but you also shouldn't be here at that level to begin with. Also optionally, I have seen people do the rooms of the middle separately, by hunting mostly 8x8s, going from one room to the other for a total of 6 pulls. This is doable for sure, and it will make the hunt easier. I wouldn't say it's a bad idea, at least to work on the charms, but the difference in XP will be over 10%, since the team I saw hunting like that were doing around the 3.3kk raw, and I believe we should have been over the 4kk, so perhaps a 20% difference of experience by hunting 8x8s over sideboxing. Just letting you know of the possibility of hunting like that. In the end, it's up to you and your team to try it out, just like you can try out any of the spawns in this playlist. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Tuna Hero, Night Star and Turtle Slasher for their support.